Hello students, good morning all. In the last class, we studied the different cities or empires that emerged and existed in different parts of the world in the medieval period. And in our second chapter, you know what's the name of our chapter? The East and West Era of Exchanges. In this second chapter, we are going to study what are the other important changes, especially the changes took place in the field of trade, then science, then development of science and development in the field of art and literature, etc. Okay, so first of all, we can study what are the important features or what are the important ideas that existed or about the trade in the medieval period. Okay, let me show you a video.
Made in Beijing, transported across the ocean within days by cargo plane or container ship. The speed and volume at which goods and information move across the world today is unprecedented in history. But global exchange itself is older than we think, reaching back over 2,000 years along a 5,000-mile stretch known as the Silk Road. The Silk Road wasn't actually a road, but a network of multiple routes that gradually emerged over centuries, connecting to various and to each other, thread by thread. The first agricultural civilizations were isolated fertile river valleys, their travel impeded by surrounding geography and fear of the unknown. But as they grew, they found that the arid deserts and steppes on their borders were inhabited not by the demons of folklore, but nomadic tribes on horseback. The Scythians, who ranged from Hungary to Mongolia, had come in contact with the civilizations of Greece, Egypt, India, and China. These encounters were often less than peaceful. But even through raids and warfare, as well as trade and protection of traveling merchants in exchange for tariffs, the nomads began to spread goods, ideas, and technologies between cultures with no direct contact. One of the most important strands of this growing web was the Persian Royal Road, completed by Darius I in the 5th century BCE. Stretching nearly 2,000 miles from the Tigris River to the Aegean Sea, its regular relay points allowed goods and messages to travel in nearly 1/10 the time it would take a single traveler. With Alexander the Great's conquest of Persia and expansion into Central Asia through capturing cities like Samarkand and establishing new ones like Alexandria as Shat, the network of Greek, Egyptian, Persian, and Indian culture and trade extended farther east than ever before, laying the foundations for a bridge between China and the West. This was realized in the 2nd century BCE when an ambassador named Shang Qian, sent to negotiate with nomads in the West, returned to the Han Emperor with tales of sophisticated civilizations, prosperous trade, and exotic goods beyond the western borders. Ambassadors and merchants were sent towards Persia and India to trade silk and jade for horses and cotton, along with armies to secure their passage. Eastern and western routes gradually linked together into an integrated system spanning Eurasia, enabling cultural and commercial exchange farther than ever before. Chinese goods made their way to Rome, causing an outflow of gold that led to a ban on silk, while Roman glassware was highly prized in China. Military expeditions in Central Asia also saw encounters between Chinese and Roman soldiers, possibly even transmitting crossbow technology to the Western world. Demand for exotic and foreign goods and the profits they brought kept the strands of the Silk Road intact, even as the Roman Empire disintegrated and Chinese dynasties rose and fell. Even Mongolian hordes, known for pillage and plunder, actively protected the trade routes rather than disrupting them. But along with commodities, these routes also enabled the movement of traditions, innovations, ideologies, and languages. Originating in India, Buddhism migrated to China and Japan to become the dominant religion there. Islam spread from the Arabian Peninsula into South Asia, blending with native beliefs and leading to new faiths like Sikhism. And gunpowder made its way from China to the Middle East, forging the futures of the Ottoman, Safavid, and Mughal empires. In a way, the Silk Road's success led to its own demise as new maritime technologies like the magnetic compass found their way to Europe, making long land routes obsolete. Meanwhile, the collapse of Mongol rule was followed by China's withdrawal from international trade. But even though the old routes and networks did not last, they had changed the world forever, and there was no going back. Europeans seeking new maritime routes to the riches they knew awaited in East Asia led to the age of exploration and expansion into Africa and the Americas. Today, global interconnectedness shapes our lives like never before. Canadian shoppers buy t-shirts made in Bangladesh. Japanese audiences watch British television shows. And Tunisians use American software to launch a revolution. The impact of globalization on culture and economy is indisputable, but whatever its benefits and drawbacks, it is far from a new phenomenon. And though the mountains, deserts, and oceans that once separated us are now circumvented through supersonic vehicles, cross-continental communication cables, and signals beamed through space rather than caravans traveling for months, none of it would have been possible without the pioneering cultures whose efforts created the Silk Road, history's first worldwide web.
There are two important trade route. Okay, two important trade route. Then can you say which was that trade route? Yes, first one. Okay, very good. One trade route, it is on the land. Okay, one trade route that passes through land. Then another one, yes, we can see another route, it is through sea. Okay, so in that map you can identify two important trade routes that were very famous in the medieval period, and which were the first one a trade route through land and another one a trade route through sea, or we can say ocean. Okay, so then can you identify these two trade routes connected from which place to which place? Yes, what's that answer? Okay, from east side to west side. Then from which place to which place? Yeah, answer from China to Western Europe. Okay, so we can say another important point by identifying that map that these two trade routes connect from China to China in the east side to the Western Europe. Okay, so listen here. By observing that map, you can see two important trade routes, which are the first one land route and the one a sea route. Okay, then these two trade routes connect from the China in the eastern side and Western Europe. Okay, then you can see one another important point. There are two different names for these two trade routes. Which are they? Yes, first one, loudly say. First one, Silk Route. Then another one, what's that? Okay, spice route. So, the land route, it is known as Silk Route. The land route, it is known as Silk Route. Then another one, the sea route or the trade route through ocean, it is known as spice route. Clear? So, these are the important points you can see by observing that picture. First one, there are two different sea routes are the trade routes are the first one land route and another one is sea route. Clear? Then land route is also known as Silk Route. Okay, then sea route is also known as spice route. Then these two trade routes connect from east part China and west part Europe. Okay, then another important point, by observing that picture, you can see that from eastern side to western Europe, so many small and big trading centers are there. So we can say when the merchants come or go through these places, they had to meet or they had to settle in different trading centers. Or we can say these two trading centers connect so many other small trading centers. Clear? Small trading centers. Listen. So, you can you can expect this question, what is Silk Route and what is Spice Route for your exam. So, please study these 2 points very well. Clear? Okay. Then, next important point. All of you listen. You studied in your first chapter, that means Constantinople was conquered by Turk people in 1453. Okay. Then, because of that, a struggle or some problem took place in the trade between east and west. Okay, then after that, by the beginning of a crusade, you studied in the first chapter, by the beginning of a crusades, again the trade between east and west started, or we can say it developed. So most of the Italian traders, they had good trade relationship with the Eastern Roman Empire. Eastern Roman Empire. You know that Italian people that belong to Western Roman Empire, they had good trade relationship with the Eastern Roman Empire and Arab people. Okay, Arabs. That means when the Crusades started, the trade relation with East and West also developed. So that people, especially the Italian traders, they had good relations between Eastern Roman people and the Arab people. Okay, then these traders, or we can say these merchants, they had trade relationship between Baghdad. Please note these places: Baghdad, then Damascus and Jerusalem. So please note these places: Jerusalem. Okay, so the Italian traders, they had good trade relationship between Baghdad, Damascus and Jerusalem. These places were very important places for trading during that period. Okay, then you know that so many other reasons also developed or helped for the development of trade between East and West. One important reason is the beginning of crusades. Some other reasons are also for the development of the trade between East and West. So now we are going to see what are the important reasons that helped the trade relation between East and West. Okay. Then crusades was an important reason for the development of trade. Then likewise so many other important reasons are also there for the development of the trade between East and West. Now we are going to study which are the important reasons. First one, rapid increase in the development of products. Okay, rapid increase in the production. Rapid increase in the production of different types of products. Then another point, diversity in the products. Diversity in the products. First one, increase in the production of different products. Second one, we can say different products means different people. That means different traders or different merchants, they produced different types of products. Okay, so we can say that products, there is a large number of diversity. So rapid increase in the production and diversity of products helped forward to increase the trade between East and West. Okay, then another important factor that helped this trade is that you know that roads and bridges, they are very essential to increase the trade. Okay, so during this period so many roads and bridges were constructed. Okay, so please note, so many roads and bridges were constructed. Okay, then nowadays the trade between countries or the trade among different countries is so easy, because now we can use different types of trading techniques or different types of vehicles to carry materials or products from one place to another. But it was in the medieval period. At that time the journey or the trade places or the merchants, they had to cover a lot of places with great adventure, because their trade routes were so difficult one. Okay, so at that time they had to face the problems of robbers and thieves. So most of the rulers, they were ready to help the merchants. So they created some rules, or we can say some regulations to control the robbers and thieves. So you can add that point here. Okay, so next point that helped for the trade between East and West is that the rulers' activity, or we can say the rulers brought so many laws. The rulers brought or they implemented so many laws forward to control robbers and thieves. To control robbers and thieves. Okay, so these are the important factors that help with the trade relation between East and West. So first one, the starting of crusade. Next one, rapid increase in the production, then diversity in the products. The next one, so many roads and bridges were constructed. Then another important point that rulers of that time, they implemented different types of laws forward to regulate, or we can say to control the bad activities of thieves and robbers. Okay, so all these factors that helped forward the trade relation between East and West. Okay, then another important point, you know that the medieval period, the trade increased and so many Italian people, they had trade relation with Eastern Roman Empire and Arab people. Okay, then that time the important trading centers were Baghdad, Damascus and Jerusalem. Okay, so please note all these points. Okay, today's class is going to over. Thank you.